2026, Black History Month once again. But we know we have Black History each and every day with the brothers that we hang out with. We don't regulate ourselves to 1 month and that's given to us. We take every day because we know all history is about Black history. We have a great understanding that our ancestors they'll be trying to be revisited by those that are in charge today. We're witnessing, my brothers and my sisters, as you join us tonight, one of the greatest attempt at theft of history that the world has ever seen. We welcome tonight Cyber Key and the Peacemaker into our virtual studios as we welcome you as well again on this 10th day of February 2026. And we hope you are doing something to enlighten and to expand the consciousness of your friends, your family, your loved ones on what it means to Black folks, not only here in America, but around the world. What's going on, Cyber? I know you just recently had a birthday, and from what I hear, things went extremely well, and you were surprised, and that's a great thing to hit that. Well, you probably don't mind. That's a beautiful thing to hit that half century mark. I know that Peacemaker hit that about 7-8 years ago. So we are mature brothers. I won't get into those 7 decades plus of years that I've been around here. But what's going on with you brothers, man? Doing this second month of the year, and it seems to be moving at warp speed, man. What's happening in your world?
Peace to my brothers, my colleagues in this fight for truth, freedom, justice, and equality. Yeah, it's good to hit that century mark, and as my grandfather tell me, it's all brakes, no gas when you reach that top of the hill. Looking forward to the changes that happen. Trying to take better care of myself and my body, but in the news, you got Bad Bunny, you got Trump, you got the Jewish commercial at the Super Bowl that people are clamoring about. And thanks to my brother Peacemaker, I didn't even see it. I stepped out the room at that one. But then I get online today and I see this Caucasian brother who broke it down. And lo and behold, he used the book by the Nation of Islam called The Secret Relationships Between Black and Jews. And I was pleasantly surprised on his commentary on that and how he weeded through all of the false narratives that are being pushed. But like I told brothers a few weeks ago, I had read an article that the ADL and some of the other powerful Jewish groups said that they was going to spend multi-billions of dollars to try to improve their image after this Palestinian massacre. So I'm not surprised that it aired during the Super Bowl. I was just surprised that they tried to use Black children to come to save the day.
Peacemaker, what's going on in your world, brother?
Seemed like he dropped off, my brother. He lost communication.
Okay,
yes.
Well, in that part of the world, man, the weather is still not acting right. So we hopefully he'll rejoin us soon. Now you said something, brother, that it's been amazing to me as well in these last few weeks. We had a chance to see. Oh, that a Peacemaker. He's back. Peacemaker, what's going on in your world, man?
Greetings to everybody, man. We are just so grateful and so appreciative of dealing with Black History Month. We are thankful. Had a little not health scare, but just a little something that we had to be careful about. But what's going on here in the DMV, we are looking into getting a new senator. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton has decided to retire. wow, after some 20 something years of being our congresswoman and our mayor, Muriel Bowser, has decided not to run. She's already had four 4-year terms. Here, you can run for mayor for life. So she has decided not to run after having a very tumultuous, troubling year, 2025, of having battle with the current president, and also having the issue now with Governor Wes Moore, and how the current president is now saying negative things about him, and how he is saying, you're not going to bully me. So we've had a lot of political issues going on here in the District of Columbia, where we say the DMV, District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia area.
You mentioned in the governor of Maryland, and allegedly, from what we understand, he was de-invited from a governor's, luncheon or whatever. That's an interesting situation right there. I did hear that there were, I guess, at least a few governors that had decided not to attend as well. Being the only black governor, in the United States, and also some saying being a potential candidate that could go against 47. It's an interesting thing to see the blatant. That's another one of those blatant examples in my mind of powerlism and racism and bipolarism that really exists. And I don't know, Cyber. It seems as though we're experiencing those some in the other camp, and like you said, this Caucasian brother that are indeed joining the people like Robert P. Jones and Tim Wise and Jane Elliott and others and saying, hey, it ain't the black folks' problem. The black folks didn't start this thing. They didn't create, racism. They didn't create this social construct. The Europeans started this thing. And so the Europeans are going to have to fix it. And so I'm always very, very pleased and happy to hear when our Caucasian brothers can speak up and like they have some intestinal fortitude and say, hey, this is what the real deal is. So hats off to the Nation of Islam for those publications. There's some powerful research that's been shared. And, sometimes we do hear that, these so-called Jews, and some of us know that there's scripture that say those that say they're Jews, but they are not. They also have taken advantage of a revisitation of history to make us think, feel, and believe, while in reality, we also know that Yeshua said they were just of their father the devil, the father of all lies. And we'll see the master liar, allegedly. Some say there are others that could do even more lying, but 47 has become an abomination in the minds of many. And I guess, brothers, we chat tonight. What do we think? Do you think that you're going to get enough heat put on by the Republicans to really do something about 47? Or is everybody just once again playing games and saying things, but not really going to take any action that would remove this cancer from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? What are your thoughts on that as well? We're just going to have open discussion. We just chat.
My thoughts are, if Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson continue to step up and put the heat on like they have been doing here recently. I'm president. It was one thing for Candace to show another side, but then when I saw Tucker, probing, it seemed like heat is being put on. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be enough to get other Republicans to join forces and fight off that mega base that's very strong in DC and across the country. But if they could get any kind of momentum and push these next 6 months, things could change and you could see a president. I wouldn't put it past him to just quit. He's that type of person. When that heat comes on, he would just quit, especially if they start talking about impeachment and stuff like that. So I'm going to be paying attention. I normally wouldn't, because I just feel like sometimes it's a waste of time, especially when Mega is controlling everything, the Republicans are controlling everything. Sometimes I feel like a waste of time, but you're starting to see a little pushback. But we'll see how much more that flame is fueled within the next 6 months.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think this midterm election is going to be it's going to be the turning point. It'll be the pivot point. Either people, either Republicans or politicians in totality are going to get tired of him, or they're going to worship him even more. They're going to go all the way in. When you think about some of the acts that former president, what he has done, President Barack Obama, he has done is to make sure that these tweets that he just sent out of him and his wife, that they are permanently tied to him, to prove to the world that yes, President 47 has sent these emails out, and then two, to make sure that it is a part of history to that this was so unpresidential. So I think that when you have tweets like this, that's just a blatant disrespect, and you are supposed to act presidential. It really shows your immaturity, and it shows the lack of respect that you have for the office or people or other people who were in the office.
That's a powerful observation, brother. And I agree with you 100 on that, because I'm going to tell you what's even worse. When asked if he would apologize after allegedly subscribing that action to a staff person, the logical conclusion for me would be that staff person is going to be fired, is going to be terminated, would be identified, so on and so forth. And secondly, I would extend, apologies to the former president and former first lady, as you use that word presidential. But see, when you are a thug, I don't think the concept of presidential come into your mind. You just still, we know this is a person that said many times, I don't need to ask God for forgiveness because I haven't done anything that would require me to ask God for forgiveness. And the thing that we've chatted about in this previous season of bipolarism in America, I don't think anything could be clearer as to what an example of it is. Now, if one thing I don't think anybody could disagree with on the former President Obama and his queen, they acted the part of president and first lady. I don't remember, brothers. The only scandal, it wasn't even a scandal, but the only thing I can remember is the one company that was a solar company. Their name escapes me right now, where there was a loan provided to them to get into solar, the solar business, and the company, had some challenges. But I don't remember any scandals in the 8 years that he was in office. And I'm serious, man. When I heard of that, and then his refusal to say, "Oh, I don't need to apologize for nothing," you know, it was talking about voter fraud. Well, the video was not that long. Come on now. The, I knew something was up when Tim Scott even said that's the most racist thing that's come out of this White House. Now, the most, which is almost saying like, if it's a racist stuff, I've been able to deal with that. But this here, that's taking it a step further. So when that brother came out and said that, I'm like, okay, maybe Tim is waking up.
Yeah, as
Oh,
I think about it, I said the only thing that I can think about, the only scandals that I can think about for those 8 years is one, he wore a tan suit, and two, he was taking Michelle out on date night too much.
okay. Okay.
That's the only, and those are not legitimate scandals. Those are a man taking care of his queen, and
Mm-hmm.
him deciding, you know what, I'm gonna put on a tan suit today.
Right.
And they and the fact that she always showed her arms, because they said that
Yeah, that's
as a
right.
first lady she should be showing her arms, but it wasn't like she was flabby. She's in great shape, and she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like half dressed. Not like we have naked pictures of our current first lady. Now,
Oh,
not let me say, I don't. Everybody has access to the naked pictures. I don't personally have them. I don't want nobody to say Peacemaker got naked pictures of the first lady. No, those pictures are made available to everybody.
they're just up there. They're just up
They're
there.
just out there.
I ain't
Okay.
know about those, brother. Oh man, but like you said, man, he was definitely presidential. You can't take that away from him, man, and his
Mm-mm.
queen. You cannot take that away from them. Now, on the scandal piece, I'm in a little different um, mindset. Wasn't he the one that killed Gaddafi?
Oh no, yeah. You one other
Yeah,
that.
just asking for a friend. Just asking
Yeah.
just to make sure that we stay balanced and correct.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some things that the power of those who control the White House
Mm-hmm.
set up for him, and he has to take ownership for that. He has to answer those questions. Maybe not in this lifetime, but he's going to have to answer those questions. But you can't take away from he at least presented America in a positive light. People look towards him like, okay, this is somebody that we can sit down, we can conversate with. He is a presidential type person. Like the dude that's in there now, it's almost like talking to John Gotti or Vito Corleone, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the way he operates.
No, that's a great respect, cyber key. That was a disappointing thing that I also had for former President Obama was the Gaddafi situation. So thank you for that amplification because you're right on point. Matter of fact, we had discussed before about how he seemed to have been the brother that was taking out the brothers. Allegedly, where no other president since Eisenhower even bombed as many countries as he did during that 8 year time period. So for somebody that the press and the Republicans wanted to present as being soft, he was not soft in that regard. So thank you. That's a very great catch, man. And you're right. We have to be balanced. So let's not be too overjoyed, other than to say he was indeed presidential, and the first lady didn't show anything but grace and charm. That's on the money. Now you mentioned something about Tucker though, Carlson and Candace Owens. And I'll be honest, when you think about where Candace was affiliated before with this Charlie Kirk, and again, we're not condoning anybody, that went through what apparently his family may be going through now. But to me, that's another example of how white nationalism has become the new religion, the new Christian, so-called Christian, I should say, religion of America. Now think about it for a moment. According to the Bible, there should be said no, neither Jew nor Gentile. You could expand it, should be said no black, no white, no this, no this, but just everybody one in Christ. So if you followed that to its logical conclusion, it would be you would have no greater relationship or friendship with anybody other than somebody that said they were a believer, and so you wouldn't be this MAGA within the Republican Party. You wouldn't be a liberal within the Democratic Party. You wouldn't be an independent. You would just be all one. But that's another example to me of what's happened to America in a real deep way, is that all of a sudden we have allowed demons to come into the White House. And where before the demons kind of stayed in the back, right? And they allowed everybody else to kind of do their thing. The demons are out front now. They're out front. And for that reason, unless we see some of these so-called believers stand up, rebuke, cast down, and all of that, all we're seeing is the acceleration and expeditious move of Babylon on the fallen side. So, brothers, what's your thoughts on something like that? Can it even be, 47 came out the other day talking about the Republicans should federalize even the 15 so-called swing states, or those states that if he was able to get them would assure him a victory, any Republican. What are your thoughts, man? That a man would allow those actual words to come out of his mouth, who is the current president, to say the Republicans, didn't say the government, didn't say the Senate, none of that, the Republicans. Come on, help me, brothers.
It's like this, man. An article came out today. Let me backtrack. They are fighting for their very existence. So when you think about that, I don't blame them for what they're actually doing. They fighting for their existence. Article came out today that says minority birth rates outnumber white births for the first time in America, or something like that. They know that their time is limited. Their time to be in control is limited. You look at Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl halftime show, and you're seeing all these Hispanics, and not only are you seeing the lighter skinned Hispanics, you see the blacker Hispanics, you're seeing everybody. Their time is limited, and they know it. And so they're trying to do everything in their power to extend that time. And that's what we're dealing with. So they're going to try every trick in the book to maintain power.
Yeah, I definitely see the same thing, man. I see, what he has done since he's been the president this second term is whatever I can do, I'm going to do. And whatever I can come up with, I'm going to do. Whatever I need to stack, or however I need to stack the odds in my favor, I'm going to do. Now, most people would say, okay, let me ask if I can do that, and then heed the warning. His philosophy has to be, I'm going to do it until they tell me I can't do it no more. And unfortunately, that process or that kind of mindset has been going on for the last 2 years, where he's doing whatever he thinks he can do, and until somebody puts him in his place, he's not going to fight back. I mean, he's not going to stop.
You on point there, my brother. There's no question that this man believes they're not going to stop me. Someone asked him the other day, he said, well, is that constitutional? He said, I don't know. Nobody told me it wasn't. Think about that kind of logic stream. I'm going to go, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to put all my people in place. Think about even how you hear the FBI director, the attorney general, CIA, all of these people that are supposed to be in these disconnected agencies, right? Not connected as a surrogate for the presidency or the president. How all of them, Tulsi Gabbard, remember she ran as a presidential candidate under the auspices that we should be trying to do all these regime changes, right? If you all remember that she was talking about how all we do is go and we try to take over countries and get into other countries' businesses and all of this stuff, and look at she's like a puppet. I mean, I can't even believe. And you know what happened in Fulton County down in Atlanta? She was there on the phone with 47 while they were raiding the Fulton County voting offices, with a court order to get all of those boxes, man, of that contain the history of voting activity in Georgia and specifically Fulton County. And see, again, that's a violation of protocol. What is the president going down and actually executing via the FBI such a process as that? I mean, that's ridiculous. I cannot believe that. And nobody, even now, and they're saying we had a court order and we couldn't do it civilly, so now we're doing it criminally. Who are the criminals then? And they said that it's sealed and nobody know who actually the warrant was served against. Help me out again, brothers. How does that make sense, Cyber? Help me out.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I saw something that they call her the chief spy in charge, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, that's why you have to be careful of these candidates that just pop up, man. And we have to be very diligent and study like their background, because their background would show some type of warning sign, and I think everybody had hopes with Tulsa, Miss Gabbard, however you say her name. Everybody had hopes when she was running in the primaries and everything, but she has totally flipped the script, and we just got to be careful, man. That's why I'm always careful of the people that's running for office and not just jumping on because somebody sounds good, or whatever, man. We have to be very diligent about some of these politicians that's running for office.
Well, brothers, when you think about all of this that's going on, and of course, Project 2025 being the blueprint of this ultra mega movement, and you have again some brothers and sisters that have joined the bandwagon and are drinking the Kool-Aid. And I want to say here, we're not saying that the Democratic Party is the savior of the world, because the Democratic Party has its own thugs doing its own things. Even though we said President Obama was presidential, we had some issues with some of the things he did. They used him to usher in, these rights that some of us are opposed to. We're opposed to abortion. We're opposed to some of these what I call different natural relationships. And everybody, I do believe they got their own free will to do whatever they want to do. But that does not mean that I have to personally endorse or accept those what I call different kind of relationships between men and women and women. And again, y'all, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just sharing what's in my heart, is that I want you to do whatever you want to do. That's your business. God gave you that free will. That's what free will is all about. But that's why many of us are independent, because we think We don't want to be programmed, because the number one thing I think, again, that's wrong with some of the Democratic Party is that they now have let every idea, every exaggerated idea into the tent. And so, and you're right. So if you let every idea into the tent, I saw a stat the other day, which I thought was a terrible stat. They had a stat that said, oh, only 14% of those that are being arrested by ICE had a criminal record. I'm like saying, do they understand what they're saying? Why do you think that's a good thing? Why do you think that's a good thing to say only 14%? Now, what they should have said, well, they should have used the data that said less than 1% were murderers or something like that. But when you're going to lump all of those together and say, oh, it was less than 14% that had criminal backgrounds that have been arrested. What kind of, why would they think that would justify, you know, ICE not doing anything? Oh, it's only 14%. My goodness, black folks is about 14% of the American population. That's a significant number to say 14% had criminal, regardless of what the criminality. That would then justify ICE actions. That would nullify. Again, help me understand. This is the mass media, man, talking about this stuff and putting it in that kind of context. Like, why are they doing all of that? They would need 14%. 5% would be, in their mind, justification to do what they're doing, because they feel that 5% could be into all kind of other activity, which we know is not. But why do we have people even there subliminally planting into the minds of Americans that, hey, 14%, that's a big number? Help me out, brothers. I don't understand.
It's justification of craziness. I mean, they're trying to justify by any means necessary that their actions are correct. So, though we know 14% is such a small number, they trying to make it seem like it is a great number by exaggerating stuff like, oh, well, it's so many people, 14%. And when you look at 14% in totality, it's a small number. But that's not the way they want to portray it. They want to justify that all of their actions are correct, that it's necessary, and that we as the American people should not have any problems with that.
Well, but 14% is significant. That's a high number, man. Because it would give them justification to say, we're going to do what we do. But I'm hopeful that we don't see that happens here in the ATL, because here in the ATL, I don't know if the citizens would be as non-responsive as they were in Minneapolis, and I know that's one of the plans that you find in Project 2025 is some kind of action initiated where then 47 can declare martial law. And that's right now they're building. My understanding is, just like in other areas around the country, they're building this detention center. They're not asking for a lot of help from the local people. Of course, the charges that was against 47, these RICO charges, we know they gone. The prosecutor that was going to be trying to pursue that case, she's gone. Again, because, come on, let's look at the hypocritical stuff again. 47 been accused of sexual harassment, been accused of a whole bunch of abominations of sexual activity, a 34-count felon, right? And here was a lady, I'm not condoning again what she may have been doing or may not have been doing, but two consenting adults that had a liaison or whatever. How in the world is someone like a 47 and the mega Republicans able to use something like that and discredit someone And yet they have all of these, again, so-called preachers propping up 47. And even going so far as to say, if you go against 47, you're going against God. Somebody help me out, brothers.
That's our laziness from as people, as normal citizens. That's our laziness to continue to allow people to utilize God and to utilize the righteous name that everybody believes in. We allow any thief and robber to use those names to shield his dirty religion. And that's what they are doing. And that's the one thing that I will give credit to those white evangelical preachers. They figured out a foothold into the black church by utilizing Jesus, shielding white supremacy, and added a check behind it. And unfortunately, a lot of black preachers took it hook, line, and sinker. And now a lot of those white evangelicals have footholds into places where they should not have footholds. So they can spread a message, again, undergirded by white supremacy. And as long as they say Jesus at the end or God at the end, most of our black people, unfortunately, they don't see the white supremacist hand as guiding the message. And that's where we are. And that's why you can have a Drewski do a skit and people love it, because unfortunately, man, our churches have been brought out. I'm gonna just say it, just plain as I can say it. A lot of our churches, I'm not going to say churches. I'm gonna say a lot of our preachers have been brought out. And unfortunately, they are the shepherds of the people. And so by default, the people have been brought out.
You know, Peacemaker, I heard the other day they were talking about T.D. Jakes, one of the most powerful preachers America's ever had. You know, businessman. I mean, just had it going on. And then allegedly got caught up in this Sean Combs thing. And they say that 50 Cent allegedly has some receipts on him, allegedly, and that he's a bottom. You know what a bottom is in that world. Man, can you imagine the effect negatively that would have on some immature people that don't understand he ain't nothing but a man, but have put him in such a high esteem that he's like a god on earth? I mean, we can only hope and pray, P-R-A-Y, that he hasn't P-R-E-Y-E-D on others as alleged. Because I'm telling you, brothers, if that would ever be found to be true, man, you have America beginning. America, first of all, let me step back. We got to know and understand that all of the philosophy of our African ancestors as it relates to the whole concept of Christianity, let's just use that as an example. It's stolen and repackaged, remarketed, right? The blonde hair, blue-eyed, European Jesus. Well, first we know that he wasn't even his name, but we'll just say that since that would be a program to use, we'll use that name. We know that he could have been blonde hair, blue-eyed. Matter of fact, the research would show that was Michelangelo's, homosexual lover. That I mean, this thing is deep, brothers. And the concept of pedophilia and all of that, sodomy, it's always been around. It's not new. It's nothing new. And so think about the Catholic Church in previous years and how many billions of dollars was paid out, man, to cover up some of the stuff that took place there. And so now, if that man, and remember the connection he had with Paula White, he was her spiritual father and all that kind of good stuff, right? Man, that would devastate, immature, weak people that call themselves believers. If that ended up being true, it would devastate them. And America would become just like Europe, where Europe, the whole trend for believers is on the southeastern curve. And that ain't a good trend. The only continents that's showing any kind of increase in believing some of those things is Africa and South America. That's it. Everybody else, man, they done already, whatever you want to call it, matured or came into the knowledge of knowing and understand that what's been marketed and branded to most people is a lie. Is a lie. Nothing but a lie. So if you step back, Peacemaker, is there any way, based on what we hear? I know people talking about forgive and all of that, but should a man of God, if true, be involved or be at situations like that to where those kind of activities allegedly were occurring? And we know that some of them went down. Should he be there?
I think I would say yes, because when you look at the lifestyle that Jesus led, it was the Pharisees and the Sadducees and those who the religious leaders that used to talk about Jesus and say, look at him. He's sitting over there with the taxpayers. He's sitting over there with the prostitutes. Why is he hanging out with those degenerate people? Now we can say he did that in order to, one, to show his humanity, and two, to do a work in them. Now, when you talk about Bishop Jakes, or you talking about anybody, if we have to know our limitations. We have to know what we can deal with and what we can't deal with. There are places that I know that I can't go to, that I used to go to, because I know my own limitations. But that doesn't discourage me from going to other places that some people might not be able to go to, that God has given me grace and mercy to be able to go and talk to people, go and be the light in those dark places, in those rooms. The problem is, too many times people go into those dark places and they are consumed by the darkness. They are the ones who end up being corrupted by the darkness. Instead of bringing about change, they bring about compromise. So that's the problem that we have to worry about and be concerned about.
Here's my take on that. Tell me where Jesus went into the whorehouse. Was there somewhere he went into the whorehouse? The people that came in, I'm gonna give it to you like this.
Okay.
When I hang out with my daddy, he's hanging out with me on my turf. I'm not going on his turf, because if I go on his turf, there's a strong possibility I may succumb to what he's promoting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I read scriptures and when I read any other scriptures, the prophets they hung on their turf. The prostitutes hung with them, and wherever they was at, in the streets, up under the tree, going to pray, it was on their terms. There's no way TDJ should be caught in a Puff Daddy house. I'm sorry, after 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. When you know the rumors say after this time the lights go down and things get freaky. Why don't Puff Daddy just come to his house on his terms? So if he needs the ministry, Jesus hung with pimps and prostitutes and thugs and everything, but he wasn't going to rob a bank with them.
Mm-mm.
If I'm a crackhead, if I was to happen to be addicted to crack cocaine, I'm gonna go and I get a little I get saved from that, and then you're gonna tell me I'm gonna turn her back around and go back into anything, any crack house, the whole house, the strip club, like they're all gonna bring something back on me, and I'm gonna be right back into that ship I just had got saved from. So I'm a little. I understand what you're saying, brother, but I'm just in a little disagreement with that, man. And I think sometimes that's how these preachers be getting caught up because they want to try to use that to go facilitate the gospel. And I remember when I'm in this organization, and I'm not going to say it right now, but I'm in this organization, and when it was going there, the brother say, "Man, you can't be going and talking about you about to sell some papers up in the strip club, talking about you for you facilitating the truth, you preaching the truth, you in the strip club with some papers in your hand, talking about you going to teach somebody. Yeah, they gonna teach you all right."
Oh, I think that's great. That's great exchanges right there, brothers. Because at the end of the day, you have to separate. You know, lightness and darkness. You got to separate, and you got to know. You got to know your place, and you got to know. And I'm not trying to condemn or condone either one. But at the end of the day, you have to be a difference maker, and you cannot be a difference maker if you are trying to do what everybody else is doing, because clearly when you look at debaucherous, lasciviousness, whoredom, when you look at all of that kind of activity, although Jesus was hanging out with some thugs and some prostitutes and all of that, there is no hint that he partook of that. And remember, we said allegedly there are receipts of participation. And now even, LeBron James has been, targeted. And now we also got to keep this in mind, that the enemy is going to use that one situation to take down as many brothers as he can. So let's say we did go over there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We took a picture or whatever. Can that then be used against us and say, okay, well, dang, that was the Godfather, the Peacemaker, that was Cyber Key, they were over there. And nobody's saying that it was 2 p.m. in the afternoon, right? Nobody's saying that the daylight was still out there. But by virtue of the technology that's available today, now all of a sudden it shows you it is dark outside. It shows you the whole bunch of scantily clad women outside, right? So now to be safe, then we have to apply what the word said, come out from amongst them, right? We can't play that game because we got to know and understand that if you are highly respected, like I said, you got these weak people, they looking at you as God on earth. You can't take that risk, in my opinion. You cannot take that risk. It's too much to risk. Because if you fall, you're going to destroy, this weak, thin layer of belief that so many people have. Because most of them are not strong, powerful believers. Okay? And so they're going to then take that as an example and say, see, I knew they were phony. I knew they weren't for real. We live in a day and age where I believe that we have to be above the fray. we can't fraternize sometimes, man, especially on their turf, as Cyber said. I agree with your overall peacemaking in terms of what you should, but you would have to even put some parameters. You'd have to put some constraints on how you would execute that ministry in that environment. Otherwise, that demon will eat you up, brother.
That's the one.
Eat you up.
That's the one thing that I respect and I love about the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. When you see him with those brothers, it's normally at a dinner table, or it's in an auditorium, or it's at his house on the farm. where he's given, he's doing the diligence, what you just talked about, preaching that mission. He don't shy away from his love from the people, even though, quote unquote, we call them, bad or evil, whatever. He don't shy away from his love of them. But he like, y'all come to the farm, y'all come to this arena, y'all come to this dinner table, and let's sit down, let's break bread. Let me, give you some guidance and stuff like that. You have to be that way, man. That's how a lot of us get taken down. Oh man, let's get off of the entertainers. Let's look at somebody like, remember Kwame Kilpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
What if he would have did proper business and kept people around him, instead of going into those fray, going into that, those things that he was dealing with, you gotta stay above the fray, man. That's how they get us. They know that, okay, well, the J used to be heavy in this. I'm sorry. Peacemaker used to be heavy in this, arena. Let's try to lure him back in him, because see, he's rising right now. He's a big name. The people loving him in his area, they loving him. He's gaining ground and preaching his word and everything like this. He's becoming too powerful. Okay, we got to lower him back. How can we lower him back? Let's get somebody to get him back into that environment that he come from. Now we got him. And we know unequivocally that's how Mossad works. That's how Epstein worked. That's their whole playbook. That's why they're able to control the entire world, because they know your weakness better than you know yourself, and they're going to entrap you in that weakness. And once they entrap you in it, they got the film now. They got the film to control your life. And Puff Daddy had earned it. That's why he had the tapes. But they was like, no, you're not about to get one up on us. We're going to get those tapes before you can release them. That's how Mossad works, man. That's why they're so keen on spying on everything on the internet, to see what you're doing, to see what kind of activity you are looking at, see what you're looking at on your social media feeds. So anytime you come against us, if you got a powerful voice and you come against us, only thing I'm gonna do is lay out your social media profile. Oh, everybody see you liking the good stuff, but what about that stuff you watching in the background? We see it. Here you go. You still gonna talk about us? You still gonna say something negative about our community? Checkmate.
That's it, brother. And that's why we have to be careful. No question. So I mean, in a perfect world, Peacemaker, you're right on point. But we know we ain't in a perfect world, right? And we know we're in a world that you're trying to be entrapped each and every day. We know Eric Snowden told us, man, every conversation, every phone call, every text, every whatever. And whenever they may need to recall it, it's there. It's not real time, but it's real. It's captured in real time. So that's why today it's so difficult to do certain things and get away with it. When you got people running around talking about, oh, we got receipts, you have to think back and say, man, what kind of situation was I ever in that would fully compromise any and everything that I've ever done? I mean, most people have done certain things, maybe a few times, but they never become a junkie of it. But when you become a junkie of a thing, when you get your jollies off on a thing that you know is an abomination before the Father, that's when you're in trouble. And see, that's why I think, if true, as alleged, so many of these people, man, the politicians, the entertainers, again, I go back to Fannie Willis in Fulton County. I mean, how the enemy was able to take that liaison, man, and literally get the whole charges thrown out. But what's worse, having an affair with, a working associate, or trying to bribe a state official into cheating in an election? Which one is worse? But brothers, I'm enjoying tonight, man, and I'm glad we had a chance to get back together because so much is going on. But in our closing comments, man, just share, what's on your heart in terms of what are we going to do? What's your plan of ministry in 2026? I know we're going to be doing this piece, but independent of this piece, what's your plan of ministry? You see all of the needs, man. You have tremendous needs, and God is blessed each and every one of you with skill sets and perspectives that are highly effective and would be able to help many people. But would you share what are some of your plans to make a greater impact in 2026?
Well, I know for myself that this is a year pivot, this time period where I am pivoting from one area of my career or my lifestyle to do something more. I am definitely searching and waiting to find what is it that he wants me to do. Um, I definitely am going to study more and be more prepared, and then not allow, as we just said, let my good be spoken evil of. We have to get to definitely a place. There's so many people that's yearning and looking for the truth, and I want to be one of those ones that will that won't compromise and willing to share the truth. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna be perfect. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna cross every T and dot every I. But I want to definitely be used more to spread some truth.
That's powerful, brother. I'm in agreement with what you're saying. Like this year, man, I'm just trying to be consistent on the things that I'm working on, as far as, even taking this podcast to another level, taking some of the other things I'm doing, like trying to activate this STEM academy that I'm working on, man. I just want to be more consistent and fulfilling those visions, turning those ideas or turning it into a vision and execute those visions. So I'm just trying to be more consistent, man, in everything that I'm doing.
Well, brothers, you're right on point. I must I must be more productive. Uh, the second half, especially the fourth quarter of 2025, was very taxing spiritually, mentally, physically. But even from a standpoint of physicality, I've been working out the last couple of weeks, especially. Uh, some of you know that we sold our home of 29 plus years and now moved to the city because I believe that we need to do some things here. Just today, you all know that my wife and I, we get into some oneness ministry. And just today, I get on the elevator where we moved to, and this young man's on the elevator, probably mid-30s, and I looked at him. He looked at me. He said, "Well, you must be. Are you going to 17?" I said, "Yeah." And long story short, he said, "Man, I hear that great things about you." I didn't know who this dude was, right? And so it ended up that he was going up to do some work, in our apartment. And we started talking, and he started telling about how he was working so hard that it was really upsetting his wife and his young daughter of 3. And he said, "Oh, that's my wife. She just texted me. Look at the thing." She said, "Don't be late tonight." And he said, "But man, they're pulling on me so hard here. Uh, I only got 3 people that's helping me. This almost 400 apartments in this building. And I'm 7 days a week, and I try to bring them up here with me, this and that." And then, of course, my queen said, "But you gotta at least take one day or half a day or something that you gotta make a commitment that you're not going to to do it. You're going to be with your family. And, you know, we just started having a conversation right then. And later on, we were going to walk down to the supermarket, which was about 3, 4 blocks, just to get some exercise. And it's a lady, man, an older lady, and she's there with a basket, you know, a bag and all kind of stuff. And McQueen says, when we come out, we got to get her some soup or something and blah, 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 blah. At first I said, oh, you know, kind of flippantly said, oh, come on, babe. But then when we went in there, it was like the Spirit of God said, what are you going to get that lady? And I was like, okay. I said, now I'm going to just get some food then. I don't want to get some money and be supporting some kind of, man, when we gave her that, man, she just lit up. And I was like, man, maybe this is one of the reasons why, you know, we're down here, is that we have to do a different kind of ministry, man, to do something different and to do more ourselves. Because I know you two, and I know you both work hard, and I know you got all kind of activities. But we have to find a way, brothers, I believe, individually to be more productive, to be more effective in our ministries. And then when we come together, I believe we'll be more effective, you know, also as a trio. Now I know there may be some times where we may have some other brothers, you know, that's joined us and been with us in the past. But I think there's a unique ministry here. And I'd like to see also, we may go and you may have some independent shows the way you do some things independent. God may put a message on your spirit, in your spirit, that only you can give effectively. And so I'm hoping that in this year, 2026, we're going to see both of those, that all of us are able to pursue our visions, our dreams, our goals effectively and productively. And then also when we come together, we'll be able to leverage and gain even more. And I've got to become more productive in understanding this social media and all of this. And I will, because now we've made the transition. I gotta, you know, get my office together, get everything organized. But at the end of the day, I believe this is going to be a great year for Black Men Declare and for the ministries that each and every one of us have been called to, because I know we've been called to some serious ministry, and it's helping a whole lot of people. We just don't know it. We don't know that young boy, that young girl, that couple, that man, that woman. They may live in any continent on the planet, any country, because we know one thing about this. Once it's posted, once it's out there, you don't know where and how it may end up. And that's why we'll be serious about the content that we bring before our brothers and our sisters. Amen. Brothers, I tell you, I love you. Ain't nothing you can really do about it. And I've just enjoyed tonight, man, just chatting a little bit, getting back into the groove. And I just pray to God to bless both of you and all of us as we move deeper into 2026. And with that, Cyber, Peacemaker, I bid you peace.
Well, don't forget, we want to make sure that they hit that like button.
Oh, yes.
Definitely subscribe. Look at previous episodes and look at future episodes that's upcoming. We definitely want to expand the family, expand the territory. So we definitely need you to get that algorithm going and share with your family and friends these kind of conversations, or use this platform to be able to take some of these same questions to your own family and ask them. Say, I heard about this podcast and heard these Black men talking and declaring, and what's your thoughts about it? And see how that can even expand the conversation.
Beautiful. Amen. You brothers be good. Till next time. This is the Godfather, Mike Zide, along with Cyber Akeem and the Peacemaker. Say go out Go out in peace. Go out in love. Until next time, Mike Side.